we broke up a relationship of like 20 years because we went to a house because the wife demanded to party. And she ended up getting like wasted and naked and blah, 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 and her husband ended up finding out about it. And he was there. That's the worst part. They were both just fucked up, and that was awesome. I mean, there's just like, you know, like just stuff like that. It's never like anything like, oh man, like we sold this amount of records, or, you know what I mean? Because all that shit's relative and doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And it's more or less the memories that come out of it. It's great now with such a digital age, like you can get all that shit on camera, you know what I mean? So
I know.
It's awesome.
I gotta ask about this one time. I've heard a rumor about you guys had a merch guy that got a staph infection.
Yeah, and died.
And did he die?
Yeah, he actually died for 32 seconds.
What happened?
Well, I mean, on tour, man, like you really can't take care of yourself all that much, and he was one of those dudes that just never showered or anything like that, and like picked a scab or something like that, and ended up getting infected, and he thought he just had a cold, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and then finally, like, we found him just sitting in the van, like barely breathing. We had to we just told him, like, dude, you're either going to go to the emergency room or you're never touring with us again. So he opted for the emergency room.
Is he okay now?
Yeah, he's fine now. He's fine now. He's just back in Buffalo, normal job, works at he makes cabinets and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Still like a huge, like, good friend of ours, but
Good.
he just doesn't want to tour anymore. I mean, after that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably don't want to tour.
For a few minutes,
yeah.
Right? So I gotta ask about the recording process. You guys recorded with Steve Evetts, and you know what's funny? Everybody that I've been meeting recently has been working with Steve.
Yeah.
I had this band live with me from Australia that recorded with Steve right around the same time.
Yeah.
You guys were doing
right
it.
after. It was like we went to Europe, and in between Europe and that other, and when we came back, he recorded that record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What was it like working with Steve? Because you've known him for ages now.
Years. Awesome. I mean, the guy is like, you know, he's great, and it's cool because he kind of like understands the way that, like, the demographic of the band and how the band works and all that shit. And it's like, it's just fucking awesome when you can go in and there's no awkward tension or anything like that. It's just like, hey, let's fucking make music. Awesome. You know, it's not like, hey, let's put autotune on here and try to make a single. It's just, you know, he lets you be the band that you are, and that's it. It's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Were there certain objectives going into recording that you guys wanted to accomplish?
I mean, I'm definitely like a firm believer in like changing things, you know, from record to record. So like a lot of us were like, well, maybe we shouldn't go to Steve, blah blah blah, and you know, maybe we should go with this guy or go with this guy, and then it just made more sense to go with him than to not go with him. You know what I mean? So that was like the biggest objective, like just trying to go over that hump of like following the path of going to a different dude every single time. You know what I mean? So. And I think, you know, it's awesome because, you know, we learn more as a band as we keep going, and he learns more as a producer as he keeps going, so it worked out perfect, you know. This is like the most proud I've ever been to a record. And,
really?
Yeah, so I'm really stoked about it.
That's good.
Yeah, really stoked.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you guys did a yard sale or a garage sale?
We did like this like, the thing is, man, like over, you know, we've been playing together for 12 years, been a band, you know, started playing shows 11 years ago, and the shit that we've accumulated over the years is retarded. Like you know, when Rat left the band, that's where we practiced. We set up we made a practice space in his basement at his house, and like, so everything that from over the years just stayed there. So when he left the band, we had to go over there and clean it out, and it was like literally retarded, like how much just shit we had, like cases. Like I think we have more cabinets than Slayer does. Like, I mean, it was retarded. So we figured, hell, you know, like we've been off for a while, put a little money in our pocket, try to do a garage sale, see if people would buy the shit, you know. And sure enough, like, you know, almost everything went.
To change the subject a little bit, since you mentioned Ratboy earlier in the conversation, what exactly happened? Why did he leave the band, and your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's hard, man. You gotta, like, with this situation, you kind of have to choose your words wisely. So I'm really angry at him. But I mean, he's still my dude, and I fucking love him. But, you know, it basically this, man, like, some dudes can tour with a girl, like have a girlfriend and tour, where the girl's cool and fucking supports, And sometimes a dude can't do that. Some dudes, you know, think all the time that their girl's cheating on them, or like vice versa, and like it just can't happen. You know what I mean? And like that's basically what happened. The dude was kind of a weak dude. You know what I mean? Like his personality's very, very, very weak, and you know, he gives into like bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's basically what happened. You know. It's, you got one person telling him one thing, and then you have other dudes telling him one thing, and you know he's gonna take a side, and he took one side over the other.
What about the other guys and their reactions? He was in the band for what, 11 years?
11. He was in the band the whole time.
Okay.
I played with them before this band, so the other dudes didn't know him as well as I did. You know, so my feelings obviously were hurt more than anyone else's, but you know, fucking him and Keith don't like each other. They, you know, I don't think they're ever gonna like each other again. I know Jordan is civil with him or whatever like that, but he's gonna, you know, Jordan's gonna take his brother's side, and it's just something that's never gonna work. You know what I mean? Again, it's sad that it happened the way it did, and it, you know, it was, you know, some shit went down that. He should have stepped up and said, "Hey, man, I'm sensing a vibe from you. Why don't you tell me? Like, let's talk about it. We've known each other for 12 years." And he didn't do that. He just let it stew and stew and stew. And it was all over a fucking inside joke. You know, it was over like an inside joke between two people, and Ratboy wasn't even involved in it. Like, it was nothing even close to him. And they took it out of context. Him and his girl took it out of context, and that was that. You know.
Did he do the drums on this previous album?
Yeah, and he killed it. You know, that was the worst part is that he played so fucking good, because it bums me out. It's like you could have just played like shit. You know, gave us a reason to like not want you in the band anymore. You know what I mean? But he fucking destroyed the drums on that record. And, you know, he did a hell of a job. He's a hell of a drummer. You know, and I want everything good to happen for him and his girl. So I'm not like, there's no ill will. It's just I wish he was still in the band, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Which is whatever. I fucking feel great about Ryan, though. Like, we have a dude named Ryan Laguerre, and he's fucking great, man. He's such a good drummer. So I'm stoked, but I'm not stoked because my dude is gone, you know what I mean? And that was like, you know, me and him, like, grew up together, so. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, we've been really we've been holding back on, like, being real about it. Yeah. Saying, like, oh, it was amicable, blah, 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 but the reality is, man, shit went down fucking horribly wrong. It could have been fixed 8 months if he would have been a man and just stepped up and said, "Hey, man, I've been noticing something. Can you talk about it?"
What was the recording process like with all this stuff going down? Was it
awkward? Difficult? Really awkward.
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult. The dude just wasn't there. I mean, like, when I did my guitar tracks, I don't think he was there once, you know, and I don't think, you know, the last 2 weeks of recording, like, we went to Europe, came back, and still had 2 more weeks of recording. He didn't even come with us. He just stayed in Buffalo. So he didn't even come for the last 2 weeks of recording.
And he wasn't in the Party Pooper DVD footage?
Yeah, just like what you see him, they said, "Oh, here, time with Mike." That's what he did the whole time. Didn't talk to us, just sat on his computer talking to someone else, you know.
So with all the ups and downs, you know, that have happened over the past decade, where do you want to go now that would satisfy you personally?
I want to just keep doing it, man. Like, you know, it's fucking weird with all the fucking, this is going to sound really arrogant and really fucking jaded at the same time, with all the fucking bullshit that's out now, with fucking auto-tune vocals, all these fucking bands, very loosely using the word bands, that just fucking hook up a fucking MP3 player and then just sing over it with some fucking bullshit auto-tune shit. I want to be the fucking Nirvana, you know what I mean? Like when fucking hair metal was saturating the fucking, you know, saturating music. It was all just cookie cutter bullshit. They all wrote the same songs. They all looked exactly the same. Nirvana came and just fucking wiped the playing field, you know, with everyone. And just, hey, we don't give a fuck. We're going to write awesome music and, you know, follow us. And that's exactly what happened. It would be awesome if every time I was that band, you know, championed that and said, fuck you guys, like, this is what we want, you know?
Yeah. Since you mentioned Nirvana, I know we had that conversation about Torch last time. You got me into them, man. They're really cool guys.
Fucking awesome.
I've interviewed them a couple times.
That's great.
So they're just.
Did you interview Steve?
Actually, the whole band.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
couple times. So
they're great. I just saw them. I took my dad to see them.
Oh yeah.
My dad loves them, so I took him to go see them. He fucking thought it was great.
It is so sludgy, man. Like just the sound.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
it's pretty. It's like a sludgy, pretty thing. It's totally weird.
The thing I like about them is that you can tell that they make music just for the love of it, rather than trying to be famous.
Yeah, and that's what's fucking great, man. Like, and that's I'm always gonna do that. Like every time I pick up a guitar, it's not because I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm playing a fucking guitar. It's because I love what comes out of it, you know. And it's sad because nowadays every fucking band doesn't want that. They want the fucking success of it first, and then they want the music second, you know.
How much do you come across it? Is it really that often?
Fucking every tour. Every single fucking tour. It's terrible. It literally, like, I said this to our manager the other day. I said, I feel like, I feel so, like, on this tour, it's like the majority of the people that are coming are, like, 14, 15 years old, that, like, really don't know what they like yet. They don't have, like, that taste of, like, you know what I mean? In a few years, it's going to fucking blow up, and they're going to go, oh, wait a second, like, there's a lot of rad bands out there that don't do what I thought was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what, on this tour, man, so many fucking people are coming out to it, and I feel so out of place. I've never felt more old in my life. And you don't, there's no sincerity in it. Like, you don't feel the sincerity in it, you know? It's not like, they're not here for the music, you know? They're here to see a cute dude with a fucking chick haircut jump around on stage.
And you're talking about Bring Me the Horizon, right?
No, I'm just generalizing.
Okay.
I mean, you see the shirts like that people wear, and it's like Attack and shit like that. It's like if you put all these bands in a picture and didn't say who was in the band, you wouldn't be able to pick a dude out. You wouldn't be like, hey, that's
so true,
oh,
dude.
that dude's in fucking Attack, or that dude's in Pierce the Veil, or you know what I mean? Like all those bands, it's like there's. Like, how can you want to be just part of the fray instead of being, like, a loose cannon that's on the outside that wants to shake shit up, you know? And that's the thing, man. There's still bands out there that, like, us, Converge, Dillinger, Poison the Well, all those bands want to shake shit up. They want to make music. They don't want to fucking make a T-shirt and then make music, you know what I mean? And that's what's hard, you know?
Were you ever into Fugazi growing up?
Loved them. Yeah. That was, like, one of my bands, like, growing up. It was funny, we played with them once, and Ian McKay grabbed my shoulder once and fucking asked me how I was doing, and it was the gnarliest day. I was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I got blown away, you know?
That's crazy.
They're the best, dude. They were the best.
Seriously, and I wish more kids, you were talking about 14, 15-year-old kids, I wish more 14, 15-year-old kids listened or knew Fugazi.
Or just get it. That's my whole thing. I don't care if, like, I don't care what bands they listen to. It's just like, there's so much real shit out there, and they're just letting it go right past them because they're letting the internet dictate exactly. Like, they're letting internet and magazines dictate what their taste is instead of just coming up with it on their own. No one nowadays, like, none of these fucking kids are like go-getters when it comes to music. Like me, like growing up, it was like, okay, Slayer was fucking awesome, but I know there's a fucking gnarlier band. You know what I mean? So I'd always sit there and try to find that gnarlier band. Or like Fugazi, like, here's this pocket of fucking bands around that time. And it's like, oh my god, Fugazi was great. Okay, but they had this band before that called Minor Threat that was fucking better than that. Who toured with this other band called Black Flag that was fucking even better than that, you know? And no one does that nowadays. It's not like that. They're just like, oh, cool, well, someone's telling me to listen to this, so I guess I'll do that. Like, oh, I've seen 14 people wear a shirt with blood coming out of the neck. Oh, I need that shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of bullshit when fashion and other shit dictate what you're gonna do as a human being. It's like, I've never, looked at a crowd and said, oh my god, Lemmings, and it's half of me wants to go and have them fall off a fucking cliff, but then half of me wants me to, I want to do something positive and say, hey, you know what? Like, what you're doing is shit. Like, check this shit out. You know what I mean? But, if they're going to listen, I don't know. Who knows? It's sad, But it's, it sucks because it makes me sound so fucking jaded. But it's not the fact that I'm jaded. I'm more like, disgusted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That there's not fans of music anymore. It's totally gone. It sucks. You know? There's a pocket. It's like 20% of people that come to these shows are like the go-getters that try to find new and exciting music, and then the other 80% are just like they're playing okay, and they all just follow in a line. You know?
You mentioned magazines dictating kids what to listen to.
Yeah.
How much do you think that public relations plays a part of a band's success?
Being on the inside, it has almost everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, perfect example is us doing a thing where you can ride with Keith from one show to another on a motorcycle. You know what I mean? That's a little extreme, but you see it nowadays, man. Like, all these PR people are just trying to think of how to one-up the next person with, like, how to sell their band and, like, make their band look cool or make their band look a certain way. I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, it literally is crazy. Luckily, we're in a situation where we're on a label that lets us do and be whoever the fuck we want to be, and that's fucking awesome. But other labels and fucking booking agents, I know there's a booking agent out there, there's a few booking agents out there that will 100% tell their bands, like, what to do. Like, oh man, you look horrible tonight, you should wear this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, for real? Like, go fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, you're an old dude that doesn't know shit. And, like, no one has that voice. They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, totally. Day-glow clothes.
I've heard stories like that. Actually, I heard one in particular where a band was told to straighten their hair.
Yeah. Everyone's doing it, man. You gotta do it. It's fucking bullshit. It's great, because if someone told, like, us to do something, it would probably be me, because I don't look like anyone else in the band. I'm fucking 6'3", weigh 240 pounds, have no hair, and usually have some sort of stupid facial hair, you know. And I don't have the shit to fucking straighten, you know.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, all right, you got to get rid of this guy, like, you know. That's it. This guy needs to be in some fucking ugly band. So, yeah.
Cool.
But that's everything. Nowadays, man, kids just don't have a voice, and it sucks. You know, and it's funny, man, because I don't remember what fucking band it was. Some drummer dude. I went to a show at home. One of my friends was playing in Buffalo, and I went to go see him. And this drummer dude came up to me, and I was talking to someone how Ratboy had left, and blah, blah, blah. And he comes up and he goes, well, what are you looking for in a drummer, man? I was like, well, 1, don't be a pussy. 2, don't hit like a pussy. 3, worship John Bonham and Keith Moon. Blah, blah, blah. And the guy goes, oh, dude, I fucking love John Bonham. I love Keith Moon. I was like, oh, cool, man, where's your kit? And he, like, points at his kit, and his kit's like, oh, that's why I play double kick. I'm like, oh, cool, man, well, you know John Bonham and Keith Moon didn't use triggers, right? And the guy goes, well, like, blah, and I was like, yeah, dude. And I, like, walked away, and my friend, I was with my friend at the time, who was, like, a really straightforward dude, and he just goes, this guy sucks, and just, like, walked away. It was great.